Right. That's my PA, and I'm
Yes. Turn around, guys. And go.
Så skal vi jo være med i løbeklubber.
bare slå. Eller
Are you ready for second half? Let me hear. Yeah, good. Awesome, fantastic. If you have ever been nervous or maybe somewhat fearful before a presentation, then please raise your hand now. And keep it up. Have a look around. And you're welcome to take it down. With that, I want to say welcome. Welcome to 99, maybe 99.9%. The fear of public speaking is very common. In fact, it's more normal than uncommon. So in this session, I would like to give you some tools and tricks to beat the fear, minimize it, and be more confident. Because if you can be more confident on the stage, your audience will be more inspired, they'll be more likely to follow you. Confidence is like a spice. Everything just becomes better and bigger. So it's a good thing to have confidence on stage. And what time is it best to start learning? Now is a good time. The best time is when you're born. And I say the second best time is now. So I hope you're ready to come up for a challenge and learn. And later, once I've gone through a couple of tools, I'll invite you to come up here. If you want, there's nothing you have to do. But then use the tools and you can have a good experience. And you come up as a team. So the art of public speaking is incredibly important. Actually, in the old Greece, this was seen as the most important class. Because imagine you have a great idea, but you don't know how to convey that idea. How much is it worth? Basically nothing. It's only in the last probably 50 years here in Europe that we're starting to take in the art of rhetoric again. It had a huge downturn in the 19th centuries and now it's growing. So if you can do that, you can have more influence and be a better leader. And what I'm going to give you, I would love to brag and say these are my tools, that I invented them, but I've gone through the research, the literature, lots of YouTube videos. I'm giving you tools that are backed up by science and proven by results. So I really urge you to give it a good try. And maybe you think, hey, this is not for me, but in fact, it shows that it works for the vast majority. But then again, you might be the exception. But again, give it a try and see if it works for you 4 or 5 times. And if it's not you, find another tool. So the system I have for you, I call it the Fear-Free Speaker System, consisting of 4 tools in the word fear. And I did spend a little bit of time managing these 4 tools to make each letter fit for something that make purpose or make sense. So the 4 tools are F, E, and A-R. So the first part, which is so important, that you must get this right. And it's something most speakers struggle a lot with, especially if you're new, maybe only slightly trained, and it really limits your presentation. It is to create a great feeling within yourself. So those moments of fear and insecurity kind of goes away. And there's one resource that is more important than anything else. What is the most important resource we need as human beings? We cannot live without it. What is that? Anybody?
Acceptance.
Acceptance. Breathing. How long can we live without breathing? Not long. So proper breathing is a strong, strong tool. And I stole this exercise from a Danish guy. We can be very proud of him. He's called Stig Severin. He's a world champion in free diving. He's an expert on holding his breath. He can do it for 20 minutes. And he showed me a great technique, how to have a good breath and really calm those nerves down. So how you breathe, Pia, when you are nervous? Where do you breathe from? Here or here?
From the bottom.
If you're nervous, where do you breathe?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you breathe up here, right?
Very fast.
Yeah, so if you feel better, where do you breathe then?
With my stomach.
Yeah, down here, right?
Yeah.
And if you're nervous, what's the pace? Fast or slow? When you're nervous?
It's fast.
It's fast, right?
Yeah.
What if you're feeling good, you're calm, confident?
It's slow.
Slow, right?
And
So
deep.
yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
So you can trigger your body, your system to be more relaxed. Even though your thoughts are like, hey, these guys are judging me, or what's gonna happen, I'm not really sure. So deep breathing, and I just want to show you the technique he showed me, which is really powerful. And I want you all to stand up and we can do it together. And this is gonna give you great energy. It can last up to like 2 hours if you do it a lot of times. Now we don't have so much time, so we're just gonna do it 2 times together. And the thing you do is you take your hands out, and then you have your breath, you breathe in through the nose. It's very important, you go through the nose. And then you have your arms here, and your breath follows your arms. So it'd be like, and you take them out here, so, and you hold a little bit, and then you breathe out. And the relaxation actually comes on the breath out. That's the really important part, and you make sure that that's about twice as long. I used to always see these videos, and you have to count. You gotta count 3, and you breathe out on 4 and 5. It doesn't make sense to me because it's too hard when you're on stage. So we'll do one together now. Everybody, it makes sense what you do? Okay, we'll do 2 together. So just follow me. Breathe in, hold, and through the mouth. And breathe in. And breathe out. And you want to make sure that when you're breathing out, your stomach goes in and out like a balloon. And you're probably thinking, hey, I'm not going to do this when I'm up here with the arms, it's crazy. But you can still do your own version when you're here and think about it. Maybe when you ask your audience a question, you have time like, I do deep breathing in that way. Or if there's a small exercise, maybe you have time to do it. And obviously you do it before, right? So unless you have a really, really long session, I told you this can give you energy for 2 hours if you do this. So unless you have a really long day, you're probably gonna have a break when you can do it. All right, thanks guys, awesome, give yourself a big hand. So the first tool is, in order to create this great feeling, is your breathing. Simple exercise, breathing, breath. And the F is feeling. Okay, another tool that is incredibly powerful is also to use the body, because back here we have something called the vagus nerve. It starts here. Anybody studied medicine? Imagine like you come in there. You did. So you're an expert on the vagus nerve, probably, aren't you? Right. What can you explain? What does the vagus nerve control?
The autonomous nerve system.
Yes. So when we use that and connect with that, we become more relaxed, right? And we can trigger this nerve by having this slow breath. So we then trigger this vagus nerve. Vagus actually means wanderer. In Latin means it wanders through the body. Part of the way is going to the heart, to the lungs, and to a lot of organs. So do trigger that nerve and you get rid of that fear. Another thing is the famous power pose. Anybody heard of the power pose?
Yeah.
Famous TED Talk from Amy Cuddy, standing out here. So always do that. If you have a job interview, you want to do that, right? And you stand like this for at least 2 minutes. So everybody stand up. And I'm going to be doing this. And I have my own version, because you want to do more than that. Everybody get the arm up, because you want to have 2 minutes. And because if you think positively, if you believe that you can do this, you are going to succeed. I'm not talking about lying to the brain. I'm not talking about you saying I'm the best in the world, because your brain is probably not going to believe that. I wish I could say that and believe it. I'm not there yet. But you can't tell yourself beautiful things that are true to you. So when you start telling yourself positive things that you do believe, then you start creating greater emotions that will then make you more alive. And why do you want to be more alive? You want to be more alive because your audience reflects you. We have these mirror neurons, meaning that we mimic each other. So if I'm smiling to you, Mark, there's a better chance that you're going to smile back and you're going to feel good. So you want to feel good, and we're going to do this all together, and you just say after me. I'm bold.
I'm bold.
I'm brave.
I'm brave.
I'm beautiful.
I'm beautiful.
And we can do this way louder. I want to hear how loud you can do this together. All right? I'm bold.
I'm bold.
I'm brave.
I'm brave.
I'm beautiful.
I'm beautiful.
Awesome, guys. Give yourself a big hand. So, 2 simple exercises that are incredibly powerful. Talking positively to yourself, and make sure that it's truthful, and use your body. So, power pose, PV, combined with speaking positively to yourself. Then you trigger these great feelings, and you make sure the audience is probably more relaxed and feeling good. So this next E is something I am just a huge fan of. I love that part. To connect with that one, you're going to be a different speaker. You are going to access another level if you do implement this. You are going to go from, if let's say you are an average normal speaker, but you will really move up to a new level, and your audience will feel it immediately. There are some speakers, when they're on stage, and you look at them and you're like, that guy is born to speak. You know them, you don't know why they are so good, but one of the things they do is that thing I want to share with you. So if you do this, you're going to change your speaking, and your colleague will see it, your peers will see it. So what is that? It's the best tool to connect with people. I haven't found a better tool to connect with people. If you have one, please let me know. I would love to hear that. But this is the best tool in my view, and it is eye contact. If you have eye contact with your audience, it is so powerful. And I can keep eye contact with you, Jonas. Right now, what's happening? We're connecting, right?
Yeah.
We're connecting. You see me, and I feel you. So it's very powerful. And there are different ways to have eye contact. There's the way that a big part of people do, which is the spraying. Is we spraying around. Right? You're like, okay, because you're a little bit afraid, and you spray around. Right now, I'm not connecting with people when I do this. You feel it immediately. I'm doing the spraying, right? And then there's another level, a little bit better, which is the 1 to 2 seconds. This is where most people are at. They have a quick look, boom, they're on, right? You see the eyes and then move on. Sure, better than the spraying, but you can do even better. You want to move up to be a really world-class speaker. And that is having 3 to 5 seconds. Just having enough time to connect. Go that part which is a little bit deeper. You're not staring the person down, right? But you just go slightly longer. Because imagine you had a pitch, 2-minute pitch, and you got to pitch your idea. You want to quickly connect with people. People buy in to your idea because they like you, and then afterwards because they like your idea or your product. So first, connection. This is the most important part of a speech. Because if you get that wrong, everything else doesn't matter. You're not going to buy from somebody you don't like. No matter how good the product is, in most cases. I'll take questions afterwards, and if you have comments, it's awesome. I'm going to be here at midnight. If you have questions, just stay all the time, so that's not a problem. It's just to make sure we get through this content, and if you have, sometimes I have a lot of audience members that want to share good advice, and that is so awesome. That is so good. do that, in the break, and so we get through this, and I make sure I give all my content. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Awesome. So eye contact, you're gonna connect on a whole new level if you do that. Eye contact, and the thing is, if you do show your eye contact, they see who you are. So the E for me stands for ego, meaning that they see you, they see who you are. We want to feel you, we want to see you for who you are. And the thing is, when you have eye contact, you really get to know people a lot better. There's been a lot of research on people going on blind dates, and so you can use this trick if you're single. You can also use it if you have a partner. Just before the date, they had people look at each other for 2 minutes. That's all they did. Look each other in the eyes for 2 minutes, and boom, 50% more second dates. 2 minutes of eye contact. That's how powerful that is. So you can also do it if you're in a relationship and connect better, have more eye contact. So very, very powerful tool to do this, but it's vulnerable. Matt talked about it. Brené Brown, the famous psychology professor from the States, talks about it. Vulnerability is the key to connection. So it takes a bit of courage to have that eye contact. You're gonna have to be okay with that, and it probably is gonna take a little bit of training, not to shift too quickly, but also not to stare them down. So how do you make sure that if you do have a prolonged eye contact, that you're not staring them down? You use the most underrated part in body language. It's very rare that I hear this trick in body language. Everybody talks about you gotta have an open posture and be welcome, which are great tips, awesome tips, do that. But there's one thing that's more powerful. Smile. Just have a smile. That should be your standard gesture. I'm not saying you gotta have the Colgate smile all the time up, but just a little smile to signal, hey, I'm feeling good. I like this. I want to give something to you. So a little smile with eye contact, and you are so much on your way to connect with your audience. So that's what we're going to do now. Have a little exercise, and I want you to find somebody you can pair up with and have eye contact. Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Find someone now that you can have eye contact with, and in a little bit I'll give you the instructions. Alright? You have one, Pia? You have one, Pia? You can hang up, that's okay. Everybody has a partner? Yes. Okay. So what you're going to do is, I'm going to count to 3, and then you have eye contact, and I'll then count to 3, and you have that eye contact. So you ready?
We're ready.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Go. 1,001. 1,002. 1,003. So those were 3 seconds. But remember the rule was 3 to 5. So now we're going to do 5. So you really get that feeling. What is 5 seconds? Because when you're up here, that's what you're going to be doing when you're speaking. So you ready for 5? All right, good. 1, 2, 3, go. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, 1,005. Awesome. Give yourself a big hand. That's so good. So let me hear. What did you see when you looked the other person in the eye? What did you see? Anybody want to share? Susanna?
I saw death.
You saw death.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, you saw
But it was much longer than I thought.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying it's probably not going to come tomorrow or today. But if you practice this, it will come. Right? The more times I do it, the better I get at it. So you saw death, you saw inside. Anybody else want to share something? Finding they had?
Smile?
You smile? Yeah. How about that? You saw that smile, you connected?
Yeah, it's nice to see a smile from
Yeah.
someone.
So, and it's easy to do, right? It just takes a little bit of practice, and you see. So the funny thing is, you see person on the outside physically, but you feel them like what's inside, and then you connect on a whole new level. You see what I'm saying? This moves you from, if you are a little bit gray, average speaker, to, this is interesting. I like this. This is, for some strange reason, a little bit magical to hear that person speaking. So, ego with eye contact. Eye contact. Yes, we have something. So this is the, you can say the non-verbal way to connect with people. But how do you then connect with people verbally, what you say in your speech? There are some ways to do it. Matt talked a little bit about it, but a great way to connect with people is using the 3 F's. I call them the 3 F's. It's your first times, not the first time, right? Don't get, if you're confident doing that, you don't need my training. No problem. Your first times. I remember the first time I did a speech, paid speech. Oh my God, I was just so nervous. In front of 25 entrepreneurs, and I was ready to go for that speech, 3 at night. And I was like, you don't need to ask her. You don't need to be ready 3 at night. It's a morning meeting at 8, so just chill out. I was adrenaline pumping through the body, and it went all right. But the first times I did my speaking jobs generally didn't go as well as now that I have more practice. So be okay sharing your first time, because typically they're not so good. So if you can lead the way and say, hey, I was here one time, I wasn't that good at it, then later it's more interesting to hear your story to how you got to be hopefully better and give them some advice. So share your first times. This is very powerful. Share your failures. Share the things that you failed at. And Martin talked about it. You share some of you can say failures, but we all have a need to belong. And we feel that we belong when we hear, oh, that person failed too. She or he made that mistake as well. So really, sharing failures make us belong together. It de-armors you. This is the first thing you want to do when you're a speaker. It de-arm. You want to take off your armor. Most people put on their armor when they're speaking. And you know what the armor is?
Yeah.
It's typical to the PowerPoint, because everything's ready. No mistake's going to happen, because we can click and we know what's going to happen. But if you can say, okay, I'm comfortable taking this off, sharing some failures, some faults, and if you're really brave and you want to move up, inspirational class speaker and make huge changes, you share your fuck-ups. Those stories you only tell your best friend, or mom, right? Where you really did something that was just crazy bad. You can go in and check my YouTube channel. I did a talk about an ex-girlfriend I had, and I shared then my story trying to win her back, and how I did crazy things that I would never have done. So you can see that. I did it in Arbor Theater, Pack Theater, I did it in Bremen Theater. It was so awesome. And people laughed at it. So by sharing, I should share failures. And then one lesson. So share your 3 F's and you're going to be so good. You're going to be so good. Okay.
So what's the third?
Fuck-ups.
Fuck.
Failure, first times, failures, and this is,
What's the difference between a failure and a fuck up?
a fuck-up's worse. So if you go and check out my video, I'd say that's a fuck-up. And I did some crazy stuff that like, okay, you didn't need to.
What was the first F you said?
First times. So the first F stands for first.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just spell it out. First.
First times it's to be a bit naive, or could be.
Failures. So, I mean, you do radio, right?
Yeah.
So probably the first time you did your radio show.
I'm nervous the first time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when you go out and speak, you talk about the
Yeah.
first time you were there,
Yeah.
and somebody called in, or
Yeah.
you were checking out all the parts,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you share that story,
Yeah.
and maybe something went wrong, I don't know,
Yeah.
so you can share that. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So the next part, we can do that. That's a very, very good thing to do. It's something that is maybe not going to help you so much when you are on the stage, but it's going to help you later to do the second speech. Because those that become really good are the ones that keep coming up here. It's not the ones that go up one time and, oh, that was for me, you know, and leave. So imagine that this chair here, let's play that this is the challenge, the problem you have. And a typical life is we're staying here. This is our comfort zone. It's nice, comfortable, right? Which is good. It's good to be in your comfort zone every now and then because you get energy. It's where you relax and we get recharged. But over there is your challenge. It's your problem. It's your chance to grow. So what happens is sometimes in life we go over here. Hello, problem. And then like, oh, I don't have time. Not now. Or like, I don't have the money to do that. Or it can be like, wasn't me. So we'll go back over here in our comfort zone and we do some more television, click a little bit, another TV show, right? And like, it's getting boring. It's only slightly boring to be over here. I don't want to grow, I want to do something different. And you go over here, like, I'm going to beat this. I'm going to get this thingy. And then, for a while, you maybe carry it around. But imagine you are afraid of public speaking. How fast are you going to develop if you're carrying around this problem? It takes longer, right? Mm-hmm. So, but then other people, not you of course, but sometimes you meet people, and they give you this thing. I've tried this many times when I'm spoken. They give you this thing. Here, this is for you. By the way, starting that company of yours, it's not a good idea. You're not going to succeed because you need 20 years experience and you only have 7. So don't do that. And you can then take the problem, right? And then you carry it around. I've tried that. One time I did a speaking gig. One person said, this sucked. It was very bad. I'm like, okay. Then I took it in. So carried it around with me for a while, right? I had to think about it. So I carried it around. That sucked. And then the other people, they walk around with this problem, but they don't know they have it. Like, where is it? I don't have a problem. Hello. So you need to get rid of this problem. And you need to accept that when you're doing the speaking job, that you have to get out of your comfort zone. Standing here is usually uncomfortable. But this is your chance to grow. If you're always here, you're not going to grow as much. So those that step into the arena, I respect them. That guy that said that to me, I don't think he was stepping up to speak. But don't take other people's crap. They're not people in the arena usually. So take in the good things. So accept that things are going to go wrong every now and then. But if you come up again and speak and learn and grow, you're going to get better. So accept that you can be nervous. It's okay. But if you come up 2, 3 times, 50, 100, imagine where you're going to be if you do 100 speeches. Accept. The last part is so underrated. Most people, I think people do it a little bit. Let me ask you this question. If you knew that your speech was good compared to not knowing, how would you feel if you knew your speech was good coming up here? Would you feel better?
Yeah.
Yeah, or makes sense, right? So there's actually a way that you can do that. So when you come up here, you're like, hey, this is pretty solid. And it's going to give you more confidence knowing that this thing works. So how do you do that? You use the good old scientific method, which is you set up a hypothesis. It could be the typical hypothesis I see training engineers and PhD students, researchers. Let me put up a ton of information on this slide. And let me speak really, really fast, because then I'm probably going to get everything I'm going to say to them, right? And what is going to happen? Probably going to happen that nobody is going to remember very much. But anyway, that's the hypothesis, right? And then you can gather the data. That's the last part. You gather the data and you evaluate. Did it work? Did people remember it? So the way you can do it is invite a couple of people before your speech. give it to them, and then what most people do is after the speech ask, did you like it? Was it good? Susanna, did you like it? Yeah, you're like, yeah, it's good, right? But sometimes we're friendly, Susanna's a nice person, so she's gonna say, this is good to me, right? But she's like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? So you ask not that question. You ask, please write down the main points you remember from the speech. Because no matter how nice Susanna is, she can't lie to that one. Even your mother can. Because if she doesn't remember your main points, she didn't. And then you need to obviously tweak it. So let's say you have 5 main points, and they only remember 2. You're probably going to change those 3 and present it in a different way. So to this one, the R is rehearse. You got to practice it. But practice it intelligently. Right? So it's good. You can stand in front of the mirror and do a couple of turns yourself. You're probably going to find some mistakes, but do see if you can get people. This is what the research shows. People that have more people when they present did better in rhetoric classes. The people that had the lowest grade presented to a mirror, then a little bit higher presented to one person, and then there was a study saying 4 and above people, they scored higher. And you know it. You get the adrenaline pumping a little bit. And so rehearse intelligent. Right? Okay. We are a little bit short on time, but I have an exercise. And this is only if you want. It's a chance to learn, grow, come up here. And I believe in positive feedback. Nobody's going to come up here and get negative feedback. You audience members, you are so awesome. You're going to cheer them on with smile and nodding. So it's all about creating this room of helping each other and have a good experience when you come up here. So let's see if we can have maybe 1 or 2 groups do it. So the idea is you go together in groups of 3, right? So gather up a group of 3. You 3 can be a group. You 3 are a group, that's okay. And you can come over here with Pia. And so this is just a template you can use. You don't have to. It's an idea, a template to make a short little presentation. And the idea is you just invent some product. It doesn't matter what it is, just be creative and have fun with it. So I'm going to give it to you now. You can just read it a little bit and then give you 5-7 minutes. Prepare a little thing, and then if we have time, we can take up a group of 2 and see if you can use some of these tools. The last one is obviously quite hard, right? Rehearse. You do that next time. So, okay? So I'm going to give that to you. There you go. There you go. Your papers for you. There you go. And you want to be in? You want it, Matt? So, okay. We're going to do like 12 past, and then hopefully we're going to have 1 group up. Okay? Does it kind of make sense? You invent a product and you can use this template. You imagine you are in Shark Tank, Sharks or Danish Løvernes Hule, right? You pitch your product or whatever. But if you have something else you want to present, that's no problem. And all right? If you have questions, just ask. The crazier, the better.